Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I'm here to delightfully engage you in a 3-hour conversation about digital learning in Washoe County School District. Actually, before I begin, I would like to recognize some of our digital and 21st century leaders in Washoe County School District, and to help me with that, I'd like to invite up the only person in the room with less hair than I have, Lead Area Superintendent Troy Parks. And by the way, I just received a text from NASA saying that an alignment like this will not be occurring for another 150 years. All right, so our, do we have a clicker here? Yep. All right, very good. So our 21st Century Administrator Practitioner Badge is for administrators who are interested in leading 21st century learning in their schools and also thinking strategically about technology. And so we have a cohort that just graduated last night, and I'd like to invite Troy to make these awards. Basically, the class is it's a 2-credit class. It is only 13 hours of face time, so the rest is done on your own. And the capstone projects are done in Microsoft Teams. We had some really fantastic ones this time. So I'd like to start by awarding those. We've got, I think, 11 recipients, the first being Jason Shipman. Not here today. Okay. Courtney Seago. Arch Ruth. Laura Peterson. Susan Novelli. Susan here? Yeah. Tiffany McMaster. Melissa Chavez. Jill Bayless. Dawn Ngati. Okay. And Sean Whistler. Thanks, Troy. All right, so we want to talk to you today about our role as leaders in the district, as LTL, in leading digital learning in Washoe County School District. As you already know, as you live this, technology in our schools is not about technology, it's about learning. And so I want you to know that as district leadership, we recognize this, and the programs that we're putting in place are intended very strongly to be about learning before technology. One of the first places conversations about technology start is obviously with the technology. So just wanted to give you a few details about where we're at with that as a district as we go through a lot of change here in our district and the way that kids experience the use of technology for learning. So let's start talking about a few statistics for our district. This clicker does not want to cooperate. So just a few things to kind of set the stage on where we're at in the district. These are numbers as of last month. We've added about 1,000 devices since then. We have a lot of technology in our district. We recognize that a lot of this is aging technology, but there is a lot of technology out there. 41,000 Windows devices, over 20,000 mostly iOS Apple devices, and we're acquiring a lot of technology. This clicker is not happy, sorry. This is a chart that shows device acquisition in our district over the past 4 years. The last of those is our current year. which obviously exceeds the other three. And you can see that the future of technology in Washoe County is mobile. The orange and the gray bars are mobile technologies, laptops and tablets. You can also see that, I think we might have a battery issue here. You can also see that laptops and tablets in this, over the last 4 years, substantially outnumber the non-mobile devices. And these numbers, by the way, are almost exclusively purchased by schools. So schools are making these decisions. So we recognize that you're seeing the value of mobile technologies in our buildings for our students. So this creates a challenge for us in how we can support mobile learning, digital learning, and 21st century learning in our district. How can we support modern technologies for use for student learning? How can we best support these needs? And then how can we support demands for one-to-one programs? Raise your hand if you have any interest, if you were able to do it, to run a one-to-one program in your building. Yeah, that's pretty much reflects the comments that I get on a daily basis. I had 2 principals talk to me yesterday about how could we do this. So it's literally on our minds. It's literally something we see as advantageous for student learning. So is somebody clicking for me? Yeah, sorry. Okay. So we've done a lot of things as a district to be ready for digital learning. If you can't read that, that says it's a bit freaky with this wireless technology. We've added wireless. We have one-to-one level wireless in our buildings, so we have the infrastructure to support that. We have a plan to refresh that through capital funding to make sure that you have the connectivity that you need. We have the bandwidth. We have that baseline of a capacity to be able to support mobile and digital learning. We also have 21st century professional learning as well, which Tara leads, and you'll hear a little more about. Thank you. You'll hear a little more about that in a few minutes. So, however, there's a lot of other, sorry, I lost my place there. A lot of challenges that we do have that we need to make sure that we're addressing for you. Sorry, this clicker is driving me crazy here. We have a lot of other increasing technology demands. This is a slide that shows you some of the capacity that we have that we're using in our buildings. This is the amount of stuff that we are putting through our network every day. You can see there 68 million daily internet transactions, 371 terabytes of total data that we have in our district. Huge network, a huge network. So running that is a big deal. And this slide here shows the increase in devices over the last 9 years. Any guesses of when the iPad was first released? Any thoughts? Shout out a number for me. 2010. 2010 was the first iPad, so that's when mobile really became a big deal. And I think our schools recognize that, you recognize that, and the acquisition of technology has increased since then to a point where there's a lot of it in our schools. So how do we support that? We also have a lot of challenges around dealing with the need for increased security. This is how many emails go through our district network every day. You can see 115,000 bad ones out of a total of 315,000. So a lot of challenges that we have to focus on, and we're doing it. And this is you as well as us in the IT office. We're doing it on a very tight budget. We're acquiring this technology, but we're doing it on a very tight budget. This is a comparison of comparable districts to the Washoe County School District IT budget. So we recognize there are challenges for you in making sure that we have enough technology in our district to serve the needs of kids. And the reality is this means that our support for you is less than we'd like it to be. Our technician to device ratio there is pretty crazy, to be honest, and I think you see that in our schools. So how can we support this the best way we can? How can we best support digital learning in our district so that you can do what you need to do to support the needs of kids? So what we'd like to do is present today a framework for a digital learning ecosystem that we're implementing to help us as a district move forward to be really thoughtful about digital learning. So being strategic about how we deploy technology, being thoughtful about how we support schools in thinking about this is really critical. So let me just outline really briefly what this digital learning ecosystem looks like, because it does impact our schools in a number of different ways. First is there are three main components to this. First is an adopted curriculum and supplemental digital resources. A lot of those are available. All of our adoptions that occur now are occurring with a digital component to that. The second component is a common digital learning platform. That is Microsoft Teams, and I'll talk a little more about that decision in a few minutes here. But our common district-wide digital learning platform, Microsoft Teams. And then finally, things that aren't served by those other two categories. These are these third-party apps, these tools. We think of them as sometimes as web resources, websites. And so these tools are, as we know, all over the place. We've got a lot of different types of tools, a lot of different needs being met by these tools. These are typically these free tools that are available. And so we have a number of imperatives that require us to kind of get on top of what is used there, and we'll talk about that as well in a few minutes. So before I move on any further, I would like to start a conversation briefly about our adopted curriculum pieces, and to do that, I'd like to invite Chief Academic Officer Debbie Beiersdorf and Lead Area Superintendent Troy Parks up to talk about those.
Good morning, everyone. Tracy, I'm going to say in Robert's defense, because I was part of that presentation the other night as well, so I didn't mention that. There was like 4 or 5 board agenda requests, Board of Trustees, because they request us to come and talk about things. There was things about student privacy data, digital curriculum, Google versus Microsoft, et cetera. So screen time, yeah, the list went on and on. So over the course of the last year or so, I've got to hang out a little bit more with Robert. And it's kind of scary because people are asking me questions about Teams now. Definitely not the expert, but definitely working hard to rethink how we bring curriculum to our students and to our teachers. And I want to give a quick shout out to Donna Angotti, Laura Peterson, and Gina Leonard, who have really, and their teams that have been really leading the work around digital curriculum. And I also want to say, too, as I've come to learn in this role, it's not normal, I guess, for an academic officer to work closely with an IT officer, because sometimes there can be competing factors, and trying to understand his world and him understanding my world. So I want to say thank you, Robert, for working closely with us. And I also want to say thank you to Troy and the area superintendents, because they're coming along too, and as they're working with all of you at your sites, good work is happening. So anyways, so Troy and I are going to quickly talk about modern digital curriculum and what that is. So we are moving, we are going there, and we're starting next school year with elementary and middle school, and then high school folks the year after. It's coming your direction as well. But the importance of a digital curriculum, a place where curriculum lands, where our teachers have access to adopted, high-quality curriculum, and we're back in that adoption cycle now, and our kids have access as well. When you think about over a third, we got about 34-35% transiency rate in our school district. When a child moves from one elementary school to another elementary school to another elementary school in the same school year, and that child is being exposed to different curriculum, no wonder sometimes it's a struggle for our kids to do well. So anyway, so guaranteed, viable curriculum. And when I think about that, I think about Joe Ernst. Because when I first became an area superintendent, I worked with Joe when he was at Taylor. And then when he went to Anderson, we engaged in a lot of conversations about guaranteed, viable curriculum. That's our business. That's what we need to do. So digital curriculum will help us get there for sure. We're right now kind of on the tail end of adopting a new English language arts curriculum for K-5, and we're working to see how that's going to load into the system as well. And I'll stop there and give a shout out to the directors in the Office of Academics in particular Kendra Fox and her team, who are working really, really hard right now to get this ready for a rollout when we start school in August. Strengthens teacher collaboration. Can you imagine a tool that's in your PLCs with your teachers as your grade level teams, as your content areas work closely together and have quick access to digital curriculum, links that take them to great supplementary materials, etc. That's the importance of this as well. And then finally, fidelity to standards. If we're not teaching Tier 1 standards for our students, then why would we be surprised if we're not seeing the results that we would like to see? So digital curriculum, it's coming. It's a change. Like I said, it's been hard for me as well, but we'll get there by working together. So I'm going to turn it over to Troy.
All right, good morning, everybody. When we talk about alignment, I am also thankful that I feel like at the district level, we are starting to have many more conversations with other departments and making sure that we align and that we bring a common message. So yeah, as we speak about a guaranteed and bona fide curriculum, I don't think about Joe Ernst, but I do think about the equity work. And we all know that the greatest predictor of student achievement, if you went through your programs and masters, you remember that unfortunately it has traditionally been SES. And our equity work says that's not okay. So as we talk about curriculum, we need as a district to be able to go, our highest SES, highest achieving school, we have the same curriculum at our lower SES, and that every kid we can get into our schools is going to be guaranteed grade level and above curriculum. That is the floor, is the grade level. And so as we keep pushing out better ways to attack the curriculum, I hope everyone kind of echoes that sentiment that the grade level is the expectation all of our schools, and that above is overachieved. So who's going next?
Thank you. All right, thank you both. So you can see that as we explore this digital learning ecosystem, that was the first layer of that. So appreciate your description of that. And the issue here is to make sure that we've got that single digital platform to be able to make sure those resources are available to all of us in an equitable way. So moving ahead, the second piece of our digital learning ecosystem is the Microsoft Teams platform, which is used across the district. Many of you, in fact, all of you are starting to use that. The DS Weekly is delivered through that now, and so there is that expectation that that will be our common digital platform. To talk a little more about that, I'd like to introduce 21st Century Learning Coordinator Tara Graves.
Good morning. Okay, waiting for my driver. You should have your device out in front of you and go ahead and open up Teams. There's been 75 of you who have already joined the team, so bravo to you for following directions from Vanjie's email reminder. Once you have Teams open, go ahead, Sawa, open up Teams. I just want to show them where to find how to join. The purple T at the bottom. There it is. Okay, if you scroll all the way down, to the bottom there on the left side, you'll see all your teams. Click on Teams. Thank you. All the way at the bottom, you see how it says Join or Create a Team. Go ahead and click on that. And then you're going to select the card at the right that pops up that says Join with a code. And go ahead and go back to the slide with the code, the slideshow. There we go. Also, while we're waiting for other people to join, if you have earned your admin practitioner badge, all of our admin practitioner badge earners, go ahead and grab that gold sticker that you see in the middle of your table. So not just the people that earned it today, everybody that has their admin practitioner badge. And then if you have already been to the Teams and OneNote training, there's 120 of you out there, go ahead and grab that other sticker, it's kind of a pearlized one, and put that on your badge today. And look around at your table and see who your experts are. So anyone that has the pearlized sticker has already been to the Teams training. And if they have the gold sticker, they have their admin practitioner badge. All right, so let's take a tour of Teams. This team was created especially for you and especially to provide resources for you as you are leading digital learning at your schools. You'll see where Sawa has the pointer is the general channel. That is standard in every team. That's where most conversations will happen. Go ahead and click on Teams again so that one window opens, yes. Then below you have the Ask 21st Century Learning. You don't have to click on those, Sawa. Ask 21st Century Learning, that is a direct link to me and my staff. If you have any questions regarding classes or technology or teams, whatever it may be, there's also a separate channel for each of the different schools, so elementary, middle, and high. These channels are for you to communicate, collaborate with other folks in like school levels. Go ahead and click on General. And then over to the right, we're going to go across the tab. So the first one, I'm not sure why it's, first one is your conversations. This is where you can just chat with anybody that's in this room, that's not in this room, that has been added as an administrator. So it's a nice professional learning community for you. The files, go ahead and click on Files. This is where most likely my department will place resources for you. Anything that is attached in a conversation will also land. There we go. Go ahead and open up the little caret in the top left there, Sawa. There we go. In the welcome section, we have a leading digital learning page, which is that landing page. Then the next page down, click on Core 21st Century, and then click on the white area. There you go. Scroll down. So you may have seen this before. When we talk about technology is not the thing, it's the thing that helps the learning happen and what we want students to do with technology. So that's our resource there you can take a look at. Go ahead and click out of there and go to the next page down. Open up, go ahead and open up the carrot again. Next page down, the admin practitioner badge. If you are interested in earning your practitioner badge, there's a course description there. We typically run a class in the fall and in the spring, and they will be on PGS here pretty soon for you to register. And to the right is a list of all of our badge earners. Go ahead and click out of that one. Next page down. Robert, I think, is going to talk a little bit about the Innovative Educator Award. Click on that one, thank you. And the flyer there, this is for you to nominate teachers at your school for doing innovative things. And you'll notice that it's not, you know, oh, they're using technology. It's a lot of different things involved there. Nominations are open always. So if you have some teachers in mind, that link is also hyperlinked at the top of that page. Okay, go ahead and open up the next section. Collaboration space. This is, everybody can edit, so be careful what you are deleting if you are in here. You'll notice that there are pages that directly correspond to those channels. So this is a place too where you can make notes, work together with people across the district. Go ahead and open up Content Library. So in the Content Library, we have some resources there for you. Go ahead and click on the first section, Digital Learning Tools. Robert's going to speak a little bit more about the data privacy. If you weren't aware, here's some information. Go ahead and scroll down a little bit. There's some links there to read. And on the right-hand side, if you scroll over to the right, you'll see a video. You can watch kind of privacy laws in a nutshell. Go ahead and open up the next section. District and site tech plans. These are in the works, so they're coming soon. And I think Robert's going to talk a little bit about Bright Bites as well. Go ahead and open up the next section is Team WCSD. That's the big project. So that's a digital curriculum project. You don't have to click on project plan, but right there is just a description of all the different pieces and parts to this big project. The next one is the Microsoft Teams and tools. Basically just an explanation of what the ecosystem, what comprises the different parts of the ecosystem. You can click on that one, Sawa. And just the main tools that make up our ecosystem. Go ahead and click out of there to the next section. Digital curriculum. Linked at the top is my link to my slideshow from last LTL. There's a link to a page that I'll be updating about where we are with different the curriculum notebooks. There's a little screenshot there of what a lesson plan might look like for the math notebook, along with integrated strategies from like SEL, 21st Century Learning, GT, special ed. Okay, go ahead and click out of there. And then the rest we've seen already. So we have the teacher communities, we have the Leaders Network that's linked to what does the Leaders Network do, how can you maximize the use of your Leaders Network people, and then the last section is the professional learning that we offer for you and your staff. So thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Tara. If we could go back to the, if we could go back to the presentation, that'd be great. All right, thank you. So as you can see, a single digital platform can help us to do this as a district. what Tara just described is a single place for all of those resources, all of that information in a single location where you can get the information and you can collaborate around it. So this is the portion where I think you were asked to bring some rotten fruit to throw at me. This is the conversation around why Office 365 and Teams versus some of these other tools that are available to us. And so I'm not going to go into all of the details about this, but I am willing to offer, if you want to come talk to me about this, if you want to shoot me an email with concerns about this, I'm happy to answer any questions around this. This is a difficult decision for us as a district, but to move forward with a number of the different imperatives, this is something that we have to do to be on top of, making sure that we have these single places to collaborate with, and also make sure that our student data is safe. And you can imagine that there, in our world today, there are a lot of places where student data is not safe, and we need to make sure that it is. So there are a number of imperatives here about why this decision has been made. Like I said, I'm happy to field any further questions. Just come up and talk to me, shoot me an email, no problem at all. A couple of real quick ones. We did start this conversation around features and functionality, a lot of consultation around that. And the reality is that a couple of these tools are relatively equal around that, the Google Suite and Office 365. But we own, and this is where the cost piece comes in, we own Office 365. And so we're able to support that integrated within our existing contracts, integrated within the expenditures we already expend for tools, whereas adding additional tools that need support from the district require additional resources to be able to support, and also additional resources at your site to support these things. So those are big reasons for centralizing on a single tool. The other issue is around data privacy and security. There is a bill in the legislature right now around that, and and a number of federal laws that I'll be happy to talk to you about. I won't go into them today, but basically the reality is that more tools means more places where data lives, and more chances for that data to be breached, and for our student data to be in places where it shouldn't be, in the hands of people that shouldn't have it. And I can tell you, in my role, I see on a daily, actually hourly basis, we are directly under attack from cyber criminals. And you wouldn't think that's the case in a school district, but I can guarantee you it is the case. And so we need to be really, really vigilant about that. All right, so what this means for you is that Office 365 and Teams is our approved digital learning platform. Alternative tools as of the beginning of school next year will not be approved. The district G Suite domain is being restricted. It's actually in effect being turned off, with the exception of for legacy Chromebooks out there. If you already have carts of Chromebooks, we're working with you, or will be shortly working with you, to make sure that those continue to be able to log in to get to the Office 365 tools. So don't feel like if you've got those out there that you won't be able to use them. We'll work with you to make sure they do until those finally get to their end of life. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that the use of school-created G Suite domains, this is a place where the district does not have the ability to monitor and protect those domains. Those are, actually they already are prohibited, but we're going to be making sure that we support you in moving to a Teams platform rather than a district or a school-created G Suite domain. If you have questions around that, feel free to reach out. We can support you in that migration. All right, so finally, the third piece of our digital learning ecosystem is approved digital learning tools. This is these third-party tools and apps, and again, I'll be happy to answer questions on this, but the bottom line is that to assure that we're compliant with federal and state laws around student data, we have to contract, we have to actually enter a contract with each vendor of third-party tools. That's a change for us. We're no longer in a world where teachers can find a tool one evening and then implement it the next day, or even in the next few weeks. We're in a position where just the reality of where the world is right now, we have to make sure our kids are safe online, and that means contracting with each of these vendors. So we have a process in place that we'll be launching shortly, and you'll see information in the DS Weekly to make sure that we have contracts in place for each of these vendors. Again, if you have further questions, I'd be happy to answer those by email or in person. All right, a couple of other things in talking about being more strategic around technology for learning in our district. We are in the final stages of preparing a district technology plan. We have not had that for many years. We're going to have a district strategy around technology that will include components around teaching and learning, purchasing and deployment of devices, and then informing our decisions through data. We're going to be also asking that schools develop a site technology plan that will be coming in as a requirement, not next year, but the year after. But we are looking at asking for pilots. If you are interested in developing a site technology plan, please reach out to me by email. It'd be perfect, and we'll include you in that cohort. It's not going to be a heavy lift. It's going to be a template that will help you to plan and be strategic at your site around technology acquisition, deployment, and how you're thinking about PD and supporting teaching and learning through technology. All right, another thing that obviously, and I mentioned this before, is around one-to-one. This is our district one-to-one timeline. We are launching into this world, and thank you to Tiffany for her willingness to go out on a limb and really be kind of our first true one-to-one school. This is fantastic. We are learning a lot as a district around this, and you can see that second year, which is this coming school year, we will have 5 schools in total that are one-to-one schools. This is amazing for us. It's a great learning opportunity. It's a great opportunity for kids. We're already seeing at Trainer Middle School a lot of really cool stuff happening. And so those 5 schools are really going to be our vanguard of what this looks like. What we want to do, and by the way, the 2 new schools the following year will also be one-to-one schools. So we will have at least 7 one-to-one schools by just over a year from now. We are looking at, and part of the district tech plan is going to be a pathway for existing schools to become one-to-one schools. So we're looking at how to support schools in finding ways to do that. Obviously, in our funding situation that you've just heard about, we're not, and you've been aware of for a long time, we're not in a position to create district-funded one-to-one schools on a regular basis like that. But there are many other ways to start moving in that direction, and we will be supporting that. So more to come on that. 2 minutes. Thank you. 2 hours, did you say? 2 minutes. Okay. All right. Just checking. All right. So I would like to close by just identifying a few steps, a few next steps in leading digital learning that you can implement now. And all of this is informed by a recent study that identified our 3 biggest fears of our current generation around technology. This is where you laugh. No, sorry. Okay, thank you. Somebody got it. All right, so next steps. The first is we have secured a tool that will help you to strategically plan with some data around technology and learning. We have secured this tool. This is a survey tool. It's a 15-minute survey for your students, I believe parents and teachers as well. 15 minutes 3 times a year, that's it. And we have secured that for all middle schools, all high schools, and a cohort of elementary schools. If you're an elementary school and you're interested in doing this, please reach out to me and we'll include you in that cohort. But all middle schools and high schools have this. And this basically gives you a dashboard. Obviously, this is drillable, a lot more information here than this, but it gives you a kind of a picture of where you are in terms of digital learning and 21st century learning. It's tied to the ISTE standards, if you're familiar with that, so it's a very strong teaching and learning lens on that. We will be providing more information about that very shortly. Finally, a couple other steps that you can do. One is nominate your staff for an Innovative Educator Award. We're planning to award the first of those in about a month from now. So if you have folks that are interested in that, the flyer for that is in the team, the Leading Digital Learning team. I would strongly encourage you to submit some of your real outstanding technology teachers for that, but also folks that are doing innovative things in teaching and learning generally. earn your 21st Century Administrator Practitioner Badge. That is also in the team and available on MyPGS. Participate in that digital learning team, that leading digital learning team. And finally, I'd really encourage you to participate in our technology plan pilot. I think that will help you, that will help us to learn from you as a district, but also help for you to plan strategically around technology, incorporate that into SPP goals and those kind of things. And with that, I think I am done. So I appreciate your time. Again, any questions you have, feel free to reach out to me at any time. So we'll turn it back over to Troy.